Welcome to our lovely future humans, to those who are curious about when your child parts stay alive. So I have all my child parts, and you don't lose yourself because you own the sense of self, and you also don't lose your humanity. And then you move into becoming a mystic, and that's why we're having a good time right now, because the 5D collective, they're all doing Dharma. They're all with their child parts. They all know that yes, children always say the truth, but they're not mean. They're simply those so-called speakers of that which they think. Okay, and as we grow up, somehow some people with sensitive egos think that we can't tell each other things anymore. And so what's fun about our 5D collective of mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving here at least at IHP is we bring all the books in, spiritual ones, science ones, we bring it all in and we have a good time with it. When it comes to the big bad wolf, it's all called Gargamel, and we got the Smurfs. And so when you do know how to move into that which is the enlightenment soul age group, you know what prophets are, what gurus are, what expert yogis are, and what that which is right here, channeler, downloader, and all of those other words too, because in communion with God, you don't lose God and you don't lose faith. And when you do know what your own embodiment is, we're all a speck of light. Okay, so I bring it all in, and the people who don't like it, we are not really interested in playing with people who are not their true selves, because they might say that they know authenticity. They want pats on the back. So we don't pat each other on the back for what we like or we don't like. That's why children speak truths. They don't speak them to be mean. Once they become adolescents, that's when I began to see children becoming mean because they were vulnerable. And I said, I'm not going to play with any of you anymore, and I'm going to pick my herd. And with all the attachment trauma education, I'm not going to bring it into this. It's going to be some storytelling. So being yourself, it is what gives you access to the most powerful of manifestation techniques, going with the flow. Because you're from within you open-heartedly dealing with unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds, unexpecteds, like the main modules of the Inner Growth Mindset Program, which is an online course that has been online for quite some time now, but I don't talk about it a lot. So the main modules are there, but it's only going to serve people who have the innocence of their inner child. And so they do like to do healthy anger, healthy fear, healthy sadness, and healthy surprise, happiness discussed. So we don't hide ourselves. And that's why I want to just share a minute for our lovely brothers and sisters, for we're all meant to be this. They all are still meant to be this. But in the meantime, we have their innocence being taken away from them. And we continue to have very bad examples of people who want to use the word Jesus, but they don't know that we can eat meat and vegetables and do exercises or not. If your body is not in its ventral vagal state, it doesn't even matter, all the nutrition stuff. So when you forgive, it's because you do know, like Stephen Porges points out, biologically rude people don't know any better. And Jesus shared with me exactly how to forgive, turn the other cheek, and not cast a stone. And God consistently tells me to not judge my brothers and sisters of human suffering. A waste of my fucking time. And Buddha and I have a thing, because I make fun of him because I'm like, you sat under a tree, Buddha. What am I going to do with that? And then I said, okay, Buddha, we got a future Buddha coming in. So I'm sure that he will make it clear, or she or they, that there's no need to suffer this life, thanks to the smart scientists who have taught us how we can highly perform. Remember, we're not just a body, but our high performance comes from our lovely ventral vagal state. And so with that, we get to be our 3-year-old innocent child, our 5, our 6, our 7, and then we get to tell each other the truth. And that's why healthy self-soothing mechanisms and healthy self-empowered people get to hang out. So when you're getting to bring your child parts to the forefront, you always want to hug each other at the end of the day, because we have those 24 hours. And that is why, give me 1 second. As Sadhguru points out in today's quote, there's nothing else to do here except live. The only choice you have is to live either superficially or profoundly. And for yesterday, he talked about how only those who have lost the need for security are truly secure. And without even knowing it, he presents what I know is that my 0-1-year-old, she's securely attached, because Maria is securely attached. So non-traumatized people, we have all our child parts. We know that the children who are actually, right now, their innocence is being lost, they have good therapists out there. And then we know that not everybody wants to love themselves first. So when I have people who are on Pinocchio's island, we're going to keep making fun of Peter Pan and Pinocchio because they don't know how to forgive. They don't know how to be healthy. They don't care to be healthy. They don't even have the highest level of spirituality going yet because they don't know how to be their real self in love with all of what they are and their imperfections and flaws. When on the other hand you do, you don't harbor resentment, you don't harbor revenge, you don't do any of that suffering, low self-esteem stuff, not because we're delusional, no, because we know how to be those who have mental emotional intelligence. And as you develop it, and for a mystic, you know that God is always working in mysterious ways, perfection. Your life is your making. God does not interfere with it. Thank you, Sadhguru. I got taught that. And I also got taught by my catechist how when people see what's happening in the world, they turn their back on God. Then I got to tell God about the people that I'm like, okay, God, seriously. So when you have Resh and you are expanding your 8th and 9th chakra, which our 5D collective are, you understand how the body and mind are profoundly connected. When the body becomes still, the mind naturally follows. Thank you, Sadhguru. This is called a body in ventral vagal state. This is called a human being who owns a sense of self, has an integrated brain, is a high performer, but I'm not a circus act. This and that are true because I know that I'm loyal to my own self. And then when I'm assimilating information, I'm not tainting it. Maria's quiet, the experts are talking. Then I know which ones are true experts and generous because they care about what they do and they're in their prefrontal. And I know when I got the bullshitters, but they're still experts. So you still get to listen to them. That's what makes the difference between a true warrior, especially those who know war is not holy at all, because our bodies are safe inside and we know how self works and we are our own beloved. But also we're in the year 2025. So people who are not in their prefrontal cortex and who have no idea how to be their real self, and who harbor resentment and revenge and have a bunch of trauma charges, they're looking for bystanders to take their side. And the 4th step to healing trauma charges, that's exactly what studies show. And also that our lovely species has this thing called in and out group. By the time you're a 14-month-old baby, you will play nice with the teddy bear that likes the same cereal. And these are not a done deal studies. They keep coming out with more. And the other teddy bear that doesn't like the same cereal, you will either not play with at all or play hostile. Now, when you're an emotionally, mentally, physically intelligent 14-month-old, that's why you don't actually allow your 14-month-old to be rude to someone. But if someone does this, to be deluded, you play nice because that's what a grown-up who knows how to self-regulate does. And then you make a funny story about it because that's what happens when you got Pinocchio's Island all over the place. So people are not monsters, but they did have monsters in homes, and then they carry the scarlet letter and they decide that they're going to make them stay fixed because that's what idiots do. So when I meet cognitive dissonance, structurally dissociated, mediocre human beings, they're not dangerous to those of us who know what it takes to actually build a herd. It's called Mani, Digo, and Sid. So what you also know with God and Akash and Source, because again, I'm a mystic, I'm not coming to you with science. The sciences, they always have answers. They call it luck, they call it, they call it math. You know what's funny about the math? They still look into consciousness. It's exactly why you'll know who's... I'm a woo pseudoscience because sciences gives you the truth of what spirituality already knew. It gives me words to tell you any person can achieve their higher potential, their highest performance. It's a circus act when you don't own the heart of your inner child. It's a circus act if your body's still protecting. If you have any kind of low self-esteem, even a little inch, that's called your trauma charges, muscles, bones, and tissues. The good experts know exactly when they are learning things and when they're seeing magical tricks. So, there's no shortcuts in life. But God will never send you more than what you can handle, which is why he's good. So for his children that will not make it over the hump, they have a place to call home. It just won't be their body. And when you hear from Sadhguru that people cut themselves up and make it into something that is intense, meaning that that's the only way they can actually feel alive, that's superficial. In fact, it's sad because actually that can completely go away if they became their authentic self and learned how to harness that which their embodied brain, the high-performing going with the flow state is. So first you own your child parts, then you bring the innocence, and then you always speak the truth. And the ventral vagal tone isn't appreciated by all, but it is appreciated by those who want to welcome their true self home, which is what the 5D collective is. Christ's consciousness about forgiving, turning the cheek, remembering that the kingdom of God is within every one of us and that God does know what he's doing. So when he's presenting any of his messengers anywhere, and really we're all, again, messengers because we're all the same children, when you have a broken-hearted child, you don't shame, blame, fault, or revenge them. They got treated like a little piece of shit. and they're bringing it all over the place. And you do not do unto others that which was done unto them. So the whole tooth and another tooth, unless you're a petty, mediocre human being, because that's exactly how it feels when I meet cowards. Betraying yourself, not your true self. I don't have anything except for a backstabber. What do I do with them? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot. God, you told me what to do with them. By the way, the cloak people, they're still hurting physically, children, and emotionally, and grown-ups too. So I don't know what to say, but I felt a little bit of guilt. I can't follow them. They don't actually do what my catechist said that you are. They do complete. I don't even know. Today I got an explanation, meaning recently, about the bad juju, which is a bullshit explanation. It's like when someone's like, oh, if we allow everyone to be polyamory, nobody will love. Okay, monoamory people, give it a rest. Really, you got plenty of people who don't know what love is because they're not securely attached. So if you don't love yourself first, you're not going to be able to love another because, again, we all have imperfections and flaws. So insecurities are very clear when people don't know how fragile basically humans can be when they were abandoned, rejected. Since I do know, like I said, it's not funny to see those who lack authenticity, but it's not monsters either. And cosmic karmic balancing. So when you hear somebody telling you that there has to be sacrifice in life, please remember, as a mystic spiritual one, I'm sharing with you. So the scientists show me that either you will be yourself with a body connected, and now I'll know who you are, and you're always going to be fun to be around. And that's because even if you're moody, you're a 3-year-old who's going to just complain about something like a 3-year-old does. But grown up, you're not a 3-year-old. It's like, I don't want to do it. I want it now. Okay, I'm done. I have a really good life, so I'm done with that. Can we go eat pizza? Please, I want to go eat pizza right now. So this is why some people are like, how dare you smile in the face of all the suffering? We are not smiling because of it. We are bringing the ventral energy to those poor children who will one day hopefully have good therapists, all of them, and all humans. So I do believe it's a small world after all, yes, and all the children of God do have the kingdom of God within them. Oh, and the planet is dharma, not karma. So those who want to ascend will continue to ascend, and those who won't, again, they have free will. We don't actually have anything we can do. Our hands are tied behind our back. I can't make you love yourself. I can't make you reclaim your child parts. I can't make you know that attachment science is right. I do know they're right because I see Pinocchio's Island. It keeps getting flooded with a bunch of friends that want to do alcoholic, drug addicts. I'm growing older, so you might have a different story. Again, it's nothing you can't choose to help them get out of their shame bind. They actively have to want it. And I was told 3D would stick around and 4D, and I'm seeing it. So, the world will be fine because cosmic karmic balancing, there's no sacrifice. Nothing gets taken away. I remember when I learned it on my own experience in life, and that was because I was like, oh my God, this just happened. One thing went off, this came on, and I was like, wow. You are amazing, God. So with that, being yourself when your child parts stay alive, all we want to do, have you seen the movie Migration? Is hug you. That's it. That's what children do. We want to hug. So when we tell each other the truth, it's not because we're trying to be mean, even though grown-ups will say we're mean. But you want me to be a liar now. So I had to tell my lovely nephew, I said, look, I love that you want to say the truth. Just FYI, there are people who will use the truth against you. So you might want to just remember this. So when you begin to meet those who are liars, you don't want to lie, but they will use what you tell them against you. However, you can take that as an opportunity to say, wait a minute, they're not using it against me. I can actually master that which is called myself. And remember that those are just words. I'm an inner adult with my inner child, which is how it works. So it's like, oh, it's not personal, Maria. Yeah, it's not personal. So when someone gets into, any of that stuff, I don't even know anymore. It will only touch me, quote unquote, when it actually is something that I wanted to share. So, and that's why you always remember, it's okay, 0-1-year-old, they don't want to get to know you. It's okay, 3-year-old, they don't want to get to know you, because the minute that you will tell anyone who has a belief, like the teenage boyfriend with God, it's not just a belief. This is my entire part. I know that I'm not welcome by all, but I have a communion and a promise, and I said yes. So you, how dare you So when people have their own effective realism, their own self-righteous, contemptuous, their own left brain, and then they get in grandiosity style, this is where it's okay. They don't want to know who you are. They can allow themselves to stay within that, and then you just leave it alone. Like with my facade friend, as I'm yelling in his face, because he didn't tell me he didn't believe in God. And so once you find out Cusco's, they always play a part while you will stay genuine, but you do understand that not everybody wants to have a true connection. So it is not happy days. It is not happy days. It's not a sad day. It's actually a self-aware day. So you do understand that only a person that is with the body and the mind can choose to notice their dysfunctional patterns. So the drinking, drugging, fucking stuff that becomes basically a very bad way to live. The body in the defense mode, so their maladaptive patterns, the 0-8-year-old that comes up, and then their lack of capacity to have healthy anger, healthy fear, healthy sadness, healthy disgust, surprise, and happiness. So you don't do anything with them because they don't have yet the humanity that is overflowing, which is why they're not at the highest level of spirituality. Number one, they're not using their prefrontal. So like my facade friend, he stayed. I still am friends with him. You don't kick people out of the herd because you maintain loyalty and you know that subjective reality, this and that are true. So at the end of the day, we all are different, but we love each other just the same. And all we want is a hug. And that's why there's a recalibration. Like I said, Resh. This is being yourself, ownership, a lot of different things for my regular community. The disturbances in self-organization, that is something that a person will have to address. Patrick Teahan mentions why your CPTSD isn't getting better. And he talks about how it separates standard PTSD from CPTSD. Relationships, emotions, and affect, which one and in the same, and the sense of self, SOS. So you don't do unto others that which was done unto them, which is why we don't shame anyone. We are shame-free people. We don't do the unhealthy fear. We are healthy fear people. So as long as you physically have not touched me, you can't actually take away from me. So when someone's in their 0-8-year-old with shadow parts coming out or grandiosity, their insecurities, it's none of our business because that's called low self-esteem, indirect communication. They're passive-aggressive. They don't really care to interact with you. My facade friend, I had a very serious conversation with him prior to when I yelled in his face. And it was just be yourself in the first. And I'm telling you this because you like to judge people and you like to think, did you think that this was me? Did you think? No, you didn't, did you? And he didn't learn anything. So when people judge a book by its cover, it's basically a person who forgets that they don't walk any day in anybody's shoes. And like the teenage boyfriend, when someone's not a mystic or spiritual, if you are one of them, one of us, we don't prove God. They don't have to believe. I know science. It proves data when it's good science. When it's pseudoscience, I'm pseudoscience. I know exactly why pseudoscience is pseudoscience. Oh, when it's pseudo-intellectual, also know that. So mental, emotional, intelligent people have no questions because our child parts don't get buffooned by grown-ups. That's why it's a innocent child who knows exactly what I see. And then I know God. And I know also Mother Earth and the empowered feminine. I know Akash. I know Shakti, Shiva. I know all of it because, again, it's a frequency that has many different, I'm going to bring it Maria's way, many different storytellers and many different reasons for the storytellers and many different of that which is imagination. It's imagination because science is. I love Thomas Campbell. You're right, man. We all make up something, don't we? So I'm being silly, obviously, but the truth always comes forth. The truth is that every single one of those people out there, the 8 billion who have human secondary consciousness, can overflow in humanity. Then they will be with this divinity thing, which is an integrated brain. It's not a tool, your body, but you will perform at your most amazing, really, luminous warriors. I actually know where I come from, and that's exactly why the future. When I did find out about me being a mystic, I didn't think it was the same as spiritual gifts, but I remember one of my first, I was circling the earth with a bunch of those. They didn't look like him, but they definitely looked like a lot of things. So we always will be open-hearted. We get to continue to expand, and in the meantime, science doesn't go against spirituality. It actually gives people a way to understand that which we already will have known intuitively. So you don't actually break another heart because their heart was broken. You want to ensure that you allow yourself to remember your place So not only with God, he's the one who is it and divinity and source and Akash, but also you would remember that when it comes to any one of us, we're choice points for each other. And so when people like to use the word, so prophet means speaking forth the mind and heart of God. God for me is discerning, equanimous, and loving. He's been my entire spiritual life. And when I moved into mysticism, I knew that the people who want to own books, they just think they know everything, but they don't. Then I know what a true guru, and that's a spiritual master, an enlightened one. They will not tell you have to believe in their way. They will know that everybody has a different way. They will also not make it into a competition. So it's not anything unusual to hear a scientist call us woo-woo pseudoscience. It's not anything unusual to hear someone say, I've never seen a medium ever, which is why we don't pay attention to grandiose, insecure people. Again, we are not looking to be patted on the back or getting this. Enlightened ones don't need your approval. That's why you own your child parts as well. So there's another grown-up who doesn't know how to be a grown-up. Guess they got their first, they must have not been able to be allowed to be creative, or maybe they were hurt their feelings. So they're bringing their humbug over. Yeah, I don't want to deal with their humbug. That child parts, they're always here. We don't deal with humbug. Good intentions are not enough. It takes the right action performed with the right consciousness to produce the necessary results. And when you're clear of mind, you're clear of heart. Grounded in reality, people know that everything's subjective. So if someone doesn't believe in God, mysticism, spirituality, they don't believe in it because they haven't experienced it. But if I'm experiencing it and you treat it like it's buffoonery, you've just disrespected a human being. However, because I'm an empowered child, I wasn't disrespectful. I just got to hear humbug, and I'm going to leave alone contemptuous, self-righteous, insecure human being in front of me, like my facade friend who still has attachment wounds. And he's basically the 16-year-old version of himself. But as you grow up, it doesn't look good. Those are limited consciousness people. So you can't make someone love themselves. You can't make them recuperate their child parts. You can't make them know that attachment science is the real deal, and that if their body doesn't get to connectedness, it's unfortunate. They can do all the diets they want, all of it. They still have a body that is doing this. Neuroception. Dr. Amy Pegan, she's amazing. So all the sciences, they give every bit of information. The ones who say, wow, Maria, everything you told me, I'm healthy. As a big belly, drinking, doing drugs, whatever, falling down. I'm 45. This person's 50. They got a daughter, and no, they're separated. Then there's another bunch of them. Again, they just told me recently, we want to stay this way. And I said, I love you. What do? You don't do anything. Okay, well, I mean, God doesn't interfere with your life, and it is your life to live. So, I mean, really can't do much about that. And so a spiritual master, guru, doesn't judge somebody based on what he is or she is or they are right now. Nope, they look at what kind of potential. Everyone has the most amazing of potential, but if they want to stay masculines, meaning a human being that only uses the left, as this rabbi points out, there are many aspects of the masculine. There's only one of the feminine. That's why the truth, like with the Thomas Campbell physicist, there's only one truth. It always comes forth. Science replicates and repeats the truth. And it's shown how people can be at their best performance, the flow state, like this guy was talking about, neuroscience, their biology, the emotions, trauma charges. You don't do it by yourself. So I'm lucky because I didn't lose child parts. My innocence is here. I just want to hug people, and when I'm able to hug people, that's all that I will have wanted. When I know of children suffering, I know that God will take care of it. And when people say, no, God doesn't exist, there's monsters, I just think of my Christian Catholic catechist who told me that's exactly what they do. And then my teenage boyfriend, as we're arguing, because they're telling me that God's not real, and I'm like, how dare you? And I just, like, you're supposed to be the person I'm going to marry, and you don't believe that And this is called, he had effective realism, which is where his feelings were strong and his thoughts, and he thinks he has irrefutable facts as he's speaking these words to me. And it's like, no, this is not a fact. It's a subjective opinion that it's bullshit, and you're actually looking me in the eyes, and you're in this position, which is why I don't argue with anybody at all, by the way. That was the only argument I ever had, and it is because of who he was supposed to be in the future. I was like, you know what? Never going to do this again. It's not worth it. And then I learned how to handle all teenagers. By the time I was 20, I'm like, so God, listen, no Lucifer, just cowards. I got to college, people complaining about fucking, people thinking it's cool to be in fraternity sororities that are doing bullshit. I got to grow up some more. And I got to witness the most absurd of scenes. I had fun, but all these people actually not only fucking each other, envious, jealous, and I'm like, wow, what did he tell you? That I was into him? I was totally not into him at all. And this is to a woman who stepped on my foot. And now I'm 45 and I get my friends who tell me they're going to stay alcoholics basically and kill themselves slowly. And I think, well, I am complaining about a nutritionist diet, so really I'm just the same as they are, and I smoke cigars and drink a little wine. There you go. So we're all the same. The difference is that I don't actually use only my masculine. I use my feminine, my thoughts and my feelings. I hug myself and I say, okay, let's stop being a pain in the ass to these people. They told us what they want, and that's because shame binds. They continue to use the dark sides of neuroplasticity, and the way they say it, kind of like the avoidant who said, people are fucked up, so why bother? You know, Maria, life's short, so really it's better to live it, like strong. And that's why when Sadhguru told me about people want intensity, so now they're cutting their limbs off, he reminded me of when he informed me that people in movies cut their noses off. And I'm like, shit, that's true. And these people follow all of this very uninteresting entertainment. And then I get to see the world as it continues to, it's okay. Don't worry, it's fine. Again, I'm making a bigger deal than I have to. God has everything taken care of. So that's why enlightened ones, we live Dharma because we know everything's taken care of. Because again, it's a bigger, not us, it. Communion with God, communion with Akash source. In the absence of saying there's only one story that is true or another that is true. No, the only thing I'm letting you know, there's no demons inside the body of anyone. Like Hippocrates points out, everyone wants to say they want to heal until they have to show up with discipline. Everybody is going to have a body, but they're also going to have different stories. So it's easy to understand because Stephen Porges explains it, how the body gets mobilized. The 2-year-old starts making up a story, and I see as people continue walking and talking with that, which is buffoonery. So the higher performing people are not performing. They will most definitely be fun to be around all the time, and they do know how to shift their nervous system. Otherwise they're not actually using their nervous system. And the words of wisdom diffuse conflict and provide clarity. So when you see those who are very bad at what they do, it's because they are not making decisions based on what truly matters and works, but they're doing it based on their likes and dislikes. So they're not actually a spiritual master or guru. They're more like those disciples who in Sadhguru's story wanted the disciples wanted the guru to get rid of the compulsive thief, which is basically, let's shame the people that we want to shame. And that's the in and out groove of human species. So 14-month-olds, I don't rule by my 14-month-old. I rule with my prefrontal. When she comes up, I say, okay, let's just be nice. It's going to get over soon, and then we'll be back, and we won't see them ever again. It deserves to be saluted. That's human being who has unhealthy boundaries, and I've never made friends. I didn't give him mixed signals. The regular listeners know the story. So a guru will look at what kind of potential a person carries, disciple, but you're not my disciples, and I'm not going to have disciples. But I do know what it means. So I've seen bountiful of masculines. My facade friend could have done amazing stuff with his life. It's his free will, not mine. That's why you have the free will. That's why you do dharma or you do karma. In fact, he's living out that which he will have believed, like a lot of other people. And I can't make you believe in yourself, and I can't make you choose to get your body connected, you see? So it's very clear why my hands are tied, but it's also clear from a spiritual mystic perspective how it works. And then from a scientific perspective, they all match. You get to choose based on your ego and yourself. And like with me, I'm doing the nutrition because I know it's good for me, even though I'm arguing with it, which is why I said a mystic's skeptic nutritionist diary, because I completely am skeptic, but I'm also just making a big deal out of something that is called my 3-year-old not wanting somebody to tell me what to do with my 24 hours. Do you see how control works from a petty, innocent child who has, this is why people think we're stupid, but we're not. We just didn't lose our adolescent essence, our child essence, and this is being yourself without ever having been broken. Because you can't take my soul away, you can't take my heart away. I got God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. We're all little angels. And the monsters are scary, and they had monsters in their home, so I'm sad for the children with the monsters from their home. When you see a child who has disorganized attachment in the adult attachment interview, it's not funny. It's not funny at all. He will not neglect anyone just because they don't have the necessary capability right now. So when you know that you will never think in terms of who is doing better or worse than you, the only question is whether you are doing your best. You also know what integrity means. I'm very happy that I was kept far away from certain people until I got all attachment trauma educated, because now I know how to be a better person. And that's why when you are your child parts, you know how to say the truth, and it's always with the innocence and the I'm just speaking what I have experienced, what I'm thinking, and it's not to prove anything, you know. So it's not as easy as it seems to find those who have kept their true self, their humanity, and their child parts, because when they became adolescents, they began to play this let's take each other's side. I saw it. I said, I'm not taking sides. And in fact, I was a very annoying teenager, and I'm still a very annoying grown-up to those who know me, because I will still tell you what I think, and then I'll say, but I thought you wanted to know me, not pretend to know me. So, you know, at the end of the day, we don't take things personally, and we enjoy continuing to manifest with that technique, the flow, the flow state. And we'll talk some more about it. We might have a late HP show, but meantime, your child part stays alive or becomes alive again when you reclaim all of them, and then we get to share our true self. So you don't lose authenticity, you lose the mask, and then you get to also bring forth humanity. So unlike my facade friend who does think he knows everything, and unlike people who do think they know everything when they don't, so they, again, we are okay with some people not wanting to get to know the depths of ourselves. Some people live superficially and some people live deeply. And here at HP, we're all the empowered feminine, masculine versions of ourselves living deeply. So we'll be back with more. Oh, and it's fun to discover more of our child parts, which is why we're going to have fun with our group personal spiritual growth. I'm still thinking the first start is going to be our 8th and 9th chakra. And then we're going to move from that, and we're going to work with anger, sadness, all the emotions, because since you own your nervous system and your child parts, like when I got this anger thing going on, I'm like, I'm curious of more. So you'll be curious to find out more of that stuff. That's how it works if you have your child parts all with you. So you don't have shadow work to do or shame. You have the I'm welcoming all of me home, and we are all imperfect and flawed, and then we know the world is it's going to be okay. Like, we'll get there. So slowly but surely, we always get there. Thanks for stopping by.